Hi everyone. Today's book is Hope for the Flowers, a tale partly about life, partly about revolution, and lots about hope for adults and others, including caterpillars who can read. The words and pictures are by Trina Paulus. Chapter 1. Once upon a time, a tiny striped caterpillar burst from the egg which had been home for so long. "Hello, world," he said. "It sure is bright out here in the sun." "I'm hungry," he thought, and straightaway began to eat the leaf he was born on. And he ate another leaf, and another, and another, and got bigger, and bigger, and bigger. Until one day he stopped eating and thought, there must be more to life than just eating and getting bigger. It's getting dull. So Stripe crawled down the friendly tree which had shaded and fed him. He was seeking more. There were all sorts of new things to find. Grass and dirt and holes and tiny bugs. Each fascinated him, but nothing satisfied him. When he came across some other crawlers like himself, he was especially excited. But they were so busy eating, they had no time to talk, just as Stripe had been. "They don't know any more about life than I do," he sighed. Then one day, Stripe saw some crawlers really crawling. He looked around for their goal and saw a great column rising high into the air. When he joined them, he discovered the column was a pile of squirming, pushing caterpillars. A caterpillar pillar. It appeared that the caterpillars were trying to reach the top, but the top was so lost in the clouds that Stripe had no idea what was there. He felt new excitement, like sap rising in the spring. "Maybe I'll find what I'm looking for." Full of agitation, Stripe asked a fellow crawler, "Do you know what's happening?" "I just arrived myself," said the other. "Nobody has time to explain. They're so busy trying to get to wherever they're going, up there." "But what's at the top?" continued Stripe. "No one knows that either, but it must be awfully good because everybody's rushing there. Goodbye, I've no more time." And he plunged into the pile. Stripe's head was bursting with the new drive. He couldn't get his thoughts together. Every second another crawler passed him and disappeared into the pillar. There's only one thing to do. He pushed himself in. Chapter 2. The first moments on the pile were a shock. Stripe was pushed and kicked and stepped on from every direction. It was climb or be climbed. Stripe climbed. No more fellow caterpillars on Stripe's pile. They became only threats and obstacles which he turned into steps and opportunities. This single-minded approach really helped, and Stripe felt he was getting much higher. But some days, it seemed he could only manage to keep his place. It was especially then that an anxious shadow nagged inside. "What's at the top?" it whispered. "Where are we going?" On one exasperated day, Stripe couldn't stand it any longer and actually yelled back, "I don't know, but there's no time to think about it." A little yellow caterpillar he was crawling over gasped. "What did you say?" "I was just talking to myself," Stripe mumbled. "It really isn't important. I was just wondering where we're going." "You know," Yellow said, I was wondering that myself, but since there's no way to find out, I decided it wasn't important. She blushed at how silly this sounded, quickly adding, "No one else seems to worry about where we're going, so it must be good." But she blushed again. "How far are we from the top?" Stripe answered gravely, "Since we're not at the bottom and not at the top, we must be in the middle." "Oh," said Yellow, and they both began climbing again. But now Stripe had a new feeling. He felt bad. He had lost his single-mindedness. How can I step on someone I've just talked to? Stripe avoided Yellow as much as possible, but one day there she was, blocking the only way up. "Well, I guess it's you or me," he said, and he stepped squarely on her head. Something in the way Yellow looked at him made him feel just awful about himself. Like, no matter what is up there, it just isn't worth it. Stripe crawled off Yellow and whispered, "I'm sorry." And Yellow began to cry. "I could stand this life hoping in what was ahead until I met you talking to yourself that day. Since then, my heart just hasn't been in it. But I don't know what to do. I didn't know how badly I felt about this life until then. Now, when you look at me so kindly, I know for sure I don't like this life. I just want to do something like crawl with you and nibble grass." Stripe's heart leapt inside. Everything looked different. The pillar made no sense at all. "I would like that too," he whispered. But this meant giving up the climb. A hard decision. "Yellow, dear, maybe we're close to the top. Maybe if we help each other, we can get there quickly." "Maybe," she said, but they both knew this wasn't what they wanted most. "Let's go down," Yellow said. "Okay." And they stopped climbing. They clung to each other as masses of caterpillars crawled over them. The air was terrible, but they were happy with each other and made a big ball so nobody could step in their eyes and stomachs. They did nothing at all for what seemed like a long time. Suddenly, they didn't feel anything crawling over them. They unrolled and opened their eyes. They were at the side of the caterpillar pillar. "Hi, Stripe," said Yellow. "Hi, Yellow," said Stripe. And they crawled off into some fresh green grass to eat and to take a nap. Just before they fell asleep, Stripe hugged Yellow. Being together like this sure is different from being crushed in that crowd. It sure is. She smiled and closed her eyes. Chapter 3. So Yellow and Stripe romped in the grass and ate and grew fat and loved each other. They were so glad not to be fighting everybody every moment. It was like heaven for a while. But as time passed, even hugging each other seemed a little boring. Each knew every hair of the other. Stripe couldn't help wondering, there must still be more to life. Yellow saw how restless he was and tried to make him extra happy and comfortable. "Just think about how much better this is than that awful mess we left," she said. "But we don't know what's at the top," he answered. "Maybe we were wrong to come down. Maybe now that we've rested, the two of us could make it to the top." "Dear Stripe, please," she begged. "We have a nice home, and we love each other, and that's enough. It's so much more than all those lonely climbers have." She was so sure. Stripe let her convince him. But only for a while. Stripe's hankering for the climbing life worsened. The pillar haunted him. He crawled there regularly, looking up and wondering. But the top remained clouded. One day at the pillar, 3 thuds startled Stripe. 3 big caterpillars had fallen from someplace and smashed. 2 seemed dead, but 1 still wiggled. Stripe whispered, "What happened? Can I help?" He made out just a few words. "The top. They'll see. Butterflies alone." And that caterpillar died. Stripe crawled home and told Yellow. They were both very sober and quiet. What did the mysterious message mean? Had the caterpillars fallen from the very top? Finally, Stripe announced, "I've got to know. I must go and find out the secret of the top." And more gently, "Will you come and help me?" Yellow struggled inside. She loved Stripe and wanted to be with him. She wanted to help him succeed. But she just couldn't believe that the top was worth all that it asks to get there. She wanted to get up too. The crawling life wasn't for her either. She also had to admit that it looked like the pile was the only way to do it. Stripe seemed so sure that Yellow felt ashamed not to agree. She also felt stupid and embarrassed, and she could never put her reasons into words that his kind of logic would accept. Yet somehow, waiting and not being sure was better than action she couldn't believe in. She couldn't explain. She couldn't prove anything. But for all her love, she couldn't go with Stripe. She just knew climbing was a wrong way to get high. "No," she said, heartsick. And Stripe left her for his climb. And I'll share the rest tomorrow. Bye.